uncommon thing to be intimidated by everybody down the line.
Did you know Don Browning?
Yes, I knew him not well. And Don knew things that were going on, and he talked about them. He would talk with VC, he would meet with people. He would talk to things, talk to people about what was happening. And, but they didn't want to hear it. It's just like, thank God that when Carol Howe went to before the court, and her supervisor, they had made her out to be a liar and she was crazy. And when her supervisor got on the stand and she said, she was under oath, she said what she said was absolutely the truth. Surely more people out there have morals to stand up for what everybody in World War I and World War II stood for. The military today, they go, the military today go over there to areas where this is a political war. This isn't war against the United States. It's a political war. And they sacrifice their lives, their family life, their homes, the injuries that they sustain. They give their lives for this so that people could have freedom. And yet when they kill someone over there, they're made to come back and account for their action. It doesn't matter if you've got a bad psychological day over there. You're on your second or third tour. You can't have, a breakdown and kill people. That's against the law. You're coming back and going to be court-martialed, or you're going to get killed, or dishonorable discharge.
All right, folks, we're going to be right back with our guest live. Stay with us. Right, Vandennieuwenhof is our guest. He's the writer and one of the producers of the amazing documentary A Noble Lie, exposing the false flag terror attack of Oklahoma City 17 years ago today. They picked the children well, just to wave them as a bloody shirt, to destroy liberty in America, and they've done a really good job. Now they're getting ready to shut down free speech and start the secret arrest. And, of course, James Lane, the director, joined us. The video is available at Infowars.com. Get it, air it on Access TV, show it to your friends and family today. You should give it to every police officer you know as well, because it gets into all the cop killing in there, how much the mafia known as the federal government enjoys that. Without truth, there is no justice, it says on the back, Infowars.com. I want to do another 20 minutes with you guys in the next hour and then take phone calls. We've got the phones loaded here for you, 800-25-99231. Then we'll go to calls on other subjects after you leave us. But other tidbits as we close out this hour that you think people should be made aware of?
Well, yes, like I said, the Oklahoma City story is still developing. There's a book coming out on the 24th of this month by Roger Charles, former Marine Corps colonel in Vietnam. And actually, it's kind of funny. We call ourselves the Marine Mafia. There's so many Marines involved with the truth-seeking efforts. Don Browning, Craig Roberts, Jesse Trentadue, myself, Matthews. Anyways, Roger Charles, he's a former ABC producer. He actually produced the 2020 segment on prior knowledge that broadcast just a year and a half after the bombing. It proved so popular that he shot an entire hour show on prior knowledge and other evidence about Oklahoma City for 2020. Shot, produced, he went home to go watch it on TV, he turned it on, and they played a rerun. He called his bosses at ABC, he's like, what's going on? And they said, well, we got a series of phone calls from the Justice Department, and they talked us into dropping the show. And
by the way, that happened with Jesse Ventura's concentration camp show. Aired once, supposed to air like 50 times. It's on cable. They pulled it. And, I mean, I can't talk about it because I'm sworn to, secrecy or let it. I mean, it was serious threats. I mean, that's who runs this government.
Yeah. Roger Charles became so enraged that he quit ABC and went to work collaborating with the Oklahoma Bombing Investigation Committee, chaired by State Representative Charles Key, trying to get to the real truth of the bombing. Well, he's come out with a book with journalist Andrew Gumbel. It comes out on the 24th of this month. It's called Oklahoma City, What the Investigation Missed and Why It Still Matters. Now, Roger Charles has a lot of connections to military intelligence. He's former military intelligence, a lot of connections in the government. He knows a lot of these federal agents who are now retired. He's talking to CIA agents who are now retired. Now, they're not not so afraid to talk anymore because they're not so concerned with their careers, their pensions. They already got all that. They're not on the clock. So there's going to be some bombshells in that book, including, from what I told, I can't reveal too much, but confirmation that Andy Strasmeyer was working on an international intelligence operation in the beginning to infiltrate neo-Nazis in this country. That is being confirmed, and it'll be detailed in the book coming out on the 24th.
And Strasmeyer is the thread that really ties all of these different components together. I mean, he was seen with McVeigh at the Lady Godiva's strip club up in the Tulsa area. We have Josiah Stone, an Elohim City resident, that says he saw McVeigh there at the time. That Carol Howe was saying that Andrew Strasmeyer was scouting locations in Oklahoma City to do a bombing. We know that this character is the one that was in the basement. Jane Graham has identified him as the one with the wire and the gray putty, which is exactly the way you set up C4.
And then actually, when we were actually briefing Jane Graham for the show yesterday, we were going over things, and she mentioned the make of the vehicle, which was an older model station wagon with wood paneling. And I was thunderstruck. I was like, that's Andy's car. That's the car that was towed, and the State Department called the tow driver and told him to release it.
So this thing's still unraveling. I mean, we're still finding new information.
Unbelievable. And the people involved are still walking around out there. I doubt a court will ever carry out justice, but I just hope none of the people that killed those kids fall down and hit their heads. We'll be right back. Stay with us. When the government fears the people, there is liberty. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. And I can make jokes about child killers falling down, hitting their heads. I know God's going to bring these people to justice. But by exposing these people, we're going to be able to stop their minions that were trained by them, who are now in control, to continue to be able to stage these. And I think that's the most important point we started the interview with. And before we go to calls, I just want to make that point again. Exposing false flag and the fact that we have exposed them in the court of public opinion really is beginning to take that tool away from these guys.
Absolutely. I mean, just the recent Supreme Court decision where they said they can strip search you for the most minor offense. One of the justices in their decision actually mentioned McVeigh being pulled over by, after the bombing. So, I mean, they still invoke the name of McVeigh. Anytime anybody has the audacity to stand up to tyranny, to expose government corruption, it's one of those McVeigh types. And this is why exposing the official story to be false about Oklahoma City, it takes that power away from them.
And it robs their loaded words of their value. I mean, they wave the bloody shirt of Oklahoma City to the state to demonize anyone who dissents against the government, who questions the constitutionality of the federal government and their actions, especially with law enforcement. And if we rob them of this and we make people aware of their false flag tool and how it works, it loses its power. Because if we figure it out, it's not going to work anymore. And I honestly think, truly do, that we are winning in the fact that we're discovering so fast and so hard. I mean, if they tried to pull up Oklahoma City today, I know it would blow up in their face. It was entirely too sloppy, and they can usually rely upon the mainstream media to cover their loose ends because they're not going to press too hard. But the mainstream media is not king anymore. Not at all. I mean, they're on the downhill slide, and the alternative media is rising up, and they are discovering things, they're spreading things out. If they tried something like that, it would definitely blow up in their face.
And if they kill one of us, there's 100 more that pop up in its place. That's what they really hate. Robert in Oklahoma, you're on the air. Welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, Alex. How are you doing?
Doing all right.
Hey, I'd like to make a personal note that I know Holland of Vandennieuwenhof.
Okay, great.
The reason why I know him for is because I used to work for a security office that supplies security to patrol the building that his office is in. And let me tell you something. We talked to about 10 minutes regarding what happened on Oklahoma City on April 19th, 1995. And let me tell you something. He is a treasure trove of information. I just want to say, buy the film, research it, and then ask questions.
What do you think of the film, A Noble Terrorist Attack Launched by Loving Liberals? I mean, a Noble Lie, the film.
I think it was a setup to see if it can be done on a larger scale, resulting in 9/11.
Yep.
And if you kill, I hate to say it, but if you kill children, you have the country backing you up.
Yep.
And that's the way it's not supposed to be.
It's real simple. Blow up a city next time, they'll be God unless we expose the false flag. We expose the false flag or they will blow stuff up and pose as a savior. It's a very old story.
Exactly. I'd just like to ask both those guys a question, if you may ask.
Sure, go ahead. Go ahead.
How would the federal government do this, and why? Is there some sort of personal vendetta against us as citizens, or are they have a hidden agenda that, you know, they know something that's coming up sometime in the near future that they're causing all this to happen?
Yeah. Why did Hitler blow up his own Capitol building? To take people's rights. You guys want to start answering that? I mean, why they'd want to stage an attack?
Certainly. I mean, we saw all of the anti-terrorism legislation being opposed across the board in the United States. There was an enormous resistance to globalization, NAFTA, GATT, all of these operations that
Congress was saying we're not going to suspend the Fourth Amendment. We're not going to have federal police. And so the feds said, we'll just blow up a federal building.
Yep. After that, everybody just rolled over and said, take our rights.
And it inaugurated us into the new age of terror. There used to be a time in this country, Alex, where we didn't have to worry about terrorism. The younger generation doesn't even know what that's like.
Stay there. Explain that on the other side. Thank you, caller. Then we're going to go to John, Patriot, Kevin, Mark, and others. Straight ahead. It's 17 years after Bill Clinton's bombing. A little over. Holland Vandennieuwenhof is our guest. He is the writer and one of the producers of the amazing film, probably the only full-length professional documentary out there that truly tells the truth about the Oklahoma City bombing, that is the foundation, the root of the overthrow of our republic, and a beta test for 9/11. All of it's aimed at you now. TSA all over the country on the streets, and they're like, we're here to fight crime. We're here to hear what you have to say politically. Watch what you say. We're going to ship some guns to Mexico and to Honduras and to Chicago. We're going to bring some drugs in. We're going to have the troops grow the opium. Ha, ha, ha. We're the good guys. You know, because of the internet alternative media now, and of course, James Lane, the director, joins us as well, now they just are trying to hide stuff in plain view. I mean, more and more it comes out, yeah, we bring the drugs in. Yeah, we murdered a lot of our troops in tests just a few years ago. Yeah, foreign banks are setting up a world government. So there's this weird thing where they admit it to take the power of denial away, but then still separately say we're dangerous and bad for not liking it. And we were just getting into the point that well, you were making a point, Holland, right before we went to break. Do you remember what that point was?
Yes. Why? Why would they do the Oklahoma City bombing? And we can look at the mundane reasons. What we know for a fact is that Craig Roberts talks about this in the movie, that when he was retained by the FBI to investigate the bombing, he was getting calls from federal agents in Arkansas telling him that when the Clintons went to D.C. to assume the presidency, that all the files and all the documents related to Whitewater were moved to the Alfred P. Moore Federal Building in Oklahoma City. And we know that the federal government was very concerned about those documents. We have Don Browning, another police officer, talking about the fact that he was told by an FBI agent on the scene that there were documents so important to the government inside the building that until they were recovered, there would be no further rescue. And
that's why FBI director's head assistant was there right after it, magically, blocking the fire department. This is key. The globalists always do things that are win, 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 win. They pick the target. They have the files transferred there because back in the old days, there was still some good people, I guess, in government, so they had to, you know, hide those from then. Then they bomb them. Then they take them out. We have the video of the file cabinets being brought out while they block saving people screaming for help.
Yeah, we have rescue workers on film saying that they think that there was a lot of people that lost their lives because of them stopping to get the document.
Doctors were saying that, and I've talked to rescue workers who said that FBI agents were stepping over wounded people, bleeding people who needed help, stepping over a wounded person to pick up a piece of paper and keep on walking. They were literally more concerned with the paper. Now,